But we were talking about ghost guns our last time, and I didn't really have a good idea of what it was, what ghost guns were. I didn't have a good idea of why they need to be regulated and such. So I thought we'd watch through some of this video, and it'll give people a better idea. And it really helped me understand what the fuck they're even talking about. So let's check out this video.
A year ago this week, standing here with many of you, I instructed the Attorney General to write a regulation that would rein in the proliferation of ghost guns because I was having trouble getting things passed in the Congress.
You were having trouble getting it passed in Congress because building your own gun for personal use has always been legal. Hell, it says it right on the ATF's website. And I quote, "No, a license is not required to make a firearm solely for personal use. However, a license is required to manufacture firearms for sale or distribution. The law prohibits a person from assembling a non-sporting semi-automatic rifle or shotgun from 10 or more imported parts, as well as firearms that cannot be detected by metal detectors or x-ray machines. In addition, the making of an NFA firearm requires a tax payment and advance approval by ATF." What Biden really wants to do is make it so you can no longer build your own gun for personal use. But as I pointed out, the ability to build your own gun has always been legal. So in order to change that, Congress has to make it legal. He can't just decide to do it himself. So all he's doing now is creating a rule for dealers that requires them to put a serial number on a gun if someone sells them a gun they made on their own. Remember, his goal is control, not safety.
Right. And we were talking about this last time about like anytime they start talking about safety, right? Spreading democracy or like this is for your safety, fucking Patriot Act. We have to keep in mind that it has nothing to do with safety. It's about control, and it's about controlling these ghost guns. And I think that it has more to do with the idea that they don't like that people have access to guns that they cannot track. And if they ever do want to wage war on their own citizens, I'm talking about the United States government, if they ever do want to wage war on their own citizens, then they're going to want to confiscate and know where these guns are. They make the argument that criminals can get away with murder. Well, he makes the point in here, which is a great point, that criminals have always acquired illegal guns, and they will continue to acquire illegal guns. It's like that adage is like, you take the guns away, the criminals are still going to have firearms. In the UK, you take the guns away. Well, guess what? The criminals have guns, and knives work pretty decently for murdering. Yeah, so it's kind of it's just a shit way of trying to control opposition, honestly.
Criminals have been getting guns on the black market for eons, and they've been scraping serial numbers off of guns for eons also.
The gun lobby tried to tie up the regulators and paperwork for a long, long time. The NRA called this rule I'm about to announce extreme. But let me ask you.
Watch
Is it extreme to protect police officers? Extreme to protect our children?
Is it?
Extreme to keep guns out of the hands of people who couldn't even pass a background check?
Now, I do understand the argument of people who are mentally unstable who acquire these machines. People who are mentally unstable shouldn't be able to acquire any kind of weapons. But again, people who are mentally unstable, how do you control that? How do you even, how can you predict someone's behavior? That's the whole thing about being human is it's unpredictable. We're predictable in some cases, but we're very unpredictable beings. How are you going to protect everybody from every mental patient? I mean, especially like anything's a weapon. Anything can be used. They can just go to their kitchen and grab a knife. They can go to Target and grab a knife. Anything can be a weapon. You can make explosives out of things you can get from the from the hardware store. So it's like, what do we regulate and where does it stop? Do we regulate fertilizer because that can be used, which I do think we actually do regulate fertilizer. But do you regulate every fucking thing that can be used as an instrument of death? Like it doesn't stop, there's no end to it.
Look, the idea that someone on a terrorist list could purchase one of these guns is extreme. It isn't extreme, just basic common sense.
Common sense is knowing that criminals have been getting guns without background checks before Joe Biden was even alive, and they'll continue to do so because they're criminals. Joe Biden and the anti-gun lobby justify every gun.
No, you're right. Yes, I'm Mom, and welcome in. But again, you can go to the hardware store and get stuff that makes explosives and easily kill more than 20 people at once. So where does it stop? Where does regulation stop?
Gun control law they try to pass with the phrase saving lives or some iteration of the phrase. It's a very dangerous manipulation tactic that they've been using for decades. It implies that if you don't agree with their gun control laws, then you don't want to save lives. And in this day and age of promiscuous levels of virtue signaling, no one wants to be seen as not wanting to save lives. So this will always be their justification, whether the law actually saves lives or not.
And this is their justification for everything, right? It's the justification for the Patriot Act, which was supposed to be a temporary act in wartime after the attack of 9/11 on the United States. We use fear tactics to get people to fall in line and to take control. I legit Googled 20 people killed with kitchen knives and found 7 stories. Phil, welcome back, my friend. Yeah, no, it's you. There is cases where people can get a good amount of stabbings done in a short amount of time, which is gross. It's fucking gross, but it's definitely. Is it Phil? Phil, do you stream? Oh shit, Phil, I didn't know you stream. Oh, I do follow you. Oh, I think we talked about this, didn't we? You know what I mean. I do know what you mean. Yes, I'm Mom. I really do know. I understand. And here's the thing, man. It's like they use fear to encroach on our freedoms. And it's been happening since forever. It's what leads us into wars. It's like we gotta go fucking do this proxy war, because if Russia, they could kill everybody and blow up the world, and Russia's, like that. There's always, I understand, and I understand where people are coming from, because, well, you're a kind person who likes people, right? Like, you don't want to see people being chewed up with automatic rifles, right? And I get that aspect, but there comes a point where it's like, do we give up these freedoms, or do we and become enslaved and have no way of fighting back against a tyrannical government, which is quickly happening? Or do we or do we pay the price of freedom, which is very costly? It's very costly. And I hate to see mass shootings. It's disgusting. It's just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But I don't ever see a good enough reason for us to lose fundamental rights, especially a right like the possession, the right to bear arms, or the First Amendment, freedom of speech, right? Like, because the Second Amendment is what protects the First Amendment, and I'm not willing to give up any of that shit because of fear. It's called terrorism. Opulence, what's up, buddy? Oh, we're just we were talking about ghost guns last time, and I didn't have a good understanding of ghost guns, and we kind of I kind of stumbled through a segment on ghost guns, and right now the Supreme Court is putting a hold on banning ghost guns. And since I didn't have a good understanding of it, I found this video by Colin Noir, who's been on Joe Rogan's podcast. I've seen him around, and he's a big gun advocate. And this video really does sort of summarize the importance of keeping, even though ghost guns can be made and created, by terrorists and mental patients who want to shoot up the place. It's still important that we keep these rights intact, because we can't bow down to fear. And again, he just does a much more eloquent job of explaining this. But yeah, I got 2 handguns and assault. Listen, Opulence, It's not an assault weapon, okay? It's a fucking automatic rifle. Assault weapons, assault rifles are what they label, which he even talks about. Thanks for the follow. Hey, Selena Choles, welcome in. Thank you so much for that follow on Kick. I appreciate you. Welcome in. I forgot what I was talking about. Over 90% of the mass shootings are with handguns. Where are the laws against handguns? Hey, what's up, buddy? Welcome in. Welcome in. My bad. Wanted to be politically correct. No, well, that's the problem, right? That's the problem with PC culture, is that it overlooks reality. To create an impossible utopia, that if we were to create that utopia, people would have to be to convince people to play into that utopia would require violence, and we've seen that. We've seen how that plays out in countries like China, like especially Mao's China, right? It's a fucking God damn it. Oh, Phil, that's hilarious, but gosh, that is not very PC, Phil. Any case, let's continue on this video. Do you stream daily? I don't, but I'm trying to stream 3 days a week at this point. We usually talk about music and politics, and music and, because culture is downstream from politics, or is it politics is downstream from culture? I always get that mixed up. But right now we're talking about guns because we were in a discussion last time about ghost guns, and I didn't have a good idea of what the implications were and how important it is to be, that the Supreme Court did put a hold on banning ghost guns, and it's good. I'm from an era that PC culture wasn't a thing. Yeah, I'm from the 80s, I guess. And the 90s is when that PC culture really ramped up. There was a time I didn't know you made the move to Kick. I'll go follow you there. Oh yeah, yes, I'm Mom. I'm streaming on Kick and YouTube and Twitch right now. I'm just following, the boys, Glowstick and Maddie. I just was like, hey, fuck it, let's do that. Oh, I wonder if anybody on YouTube has said anything. Oh, okay. I missed that era as a kid for a short time. Yeah, well, that's okay. You're young. It happens. Young people, you weren't born. I'm old as fuck. So it's all good, buddy.
In short, the phrase, "it will save lives," generally means it doesn't matter if the road we're taking is leading you to hell. All that matters is that we say our intentions are good.
Right. So the road to hell is paved in good intentions is what he's referring to. And yes, I'm Mom. Thank you so much for following me over on Kick. I'm almost to 75 over there and almost to monetization. So thank you so much. Do you like artwork? I love artwork. I'm an artist. Well, I'm not like, I'm a musician, but not like painty artwork. Are you an artist? Selena? I'm going to follow you. I'm just going to follow you. I don't know if you stream, but I'm going to do that. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm Mom. I'm trying to get Maddie back on, and I think I'll have the boys back on, Glowstick on. And of course, I got to get John back on because John is always a good time. Fucking stay awake, squad, y'all. You stream now too? Hold on. Yes, I'm Mom. I'm about to follow you. Boom. Everybody's in chat. If you're on Kick or even if you're on Twitch, go and follow Yes, I'm Mom. I don't know if I have shout outs on here. I don't know if that works over here. I did it. I did it. I guess I did have it set up. Yes, I'm Mom. Go follow these wonderful people and let's support each other. Getting back to this, I always love that phrase though. Good intent. What is it? The road to hell is paved in good intentions. Can I show you some of my artwork? Sure. If you want to drop it in the Discord, you definitely can. I don't know if Discord is working over here. Ah, shit. and I'll take a look at it. I'll get you. Bad. Here, I'll drop this link over in the Kick. I'm sorry I don't have all the things linked up, y'all. I'm still working on it. This is the work in progress. There you go. There's my Discord. If you want to drop it in there, I'll take a look at it.
That couch you have to assemble, it's still a couch. If you order a package like this one over here, that includes the parts you need, the direction of assembling a functioning firearm, you bought a gun. Take a look. A felon, a terrorist, a domestic abuser.
He just shit his pants there.
Can go from a gun kit to a gun in as little as 30 minutes.
These kits are not as plug and play as Joe is making them out to be. You actually have to engage in some level of gunsmithing to have a functioning gun. But the law doesn't say that you can only build your own gun if it's traceable and hard to make. A so-called ghost gun is nothing more than a gun someone built themselves. Literally, that's all a ghost gun is. They love calling it a ghost gun because homemade gun doesn't scare suburban housewives with helicopter mom syndrome quite like ghost gun.
Ghost gun. Right, and he makes a good point coming up here about how they label ghost guns or high capacity magazines or assault rifles, right? Like they label these things to induce a certain amount of fear in people. And what's the thing? Jazz finger gun. Pew 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 pew. It's a tactic that's as old as time, right? You use fear to get people to do what you want them to do. It's a form of control, and that's what that's what these inalienable rights that we have here in America is all about. Is a way to fight that. Is what these fundamental rights for those who live in the United States. It's to fight back against that shit because that's tyranny. That's terrorism. Fuck that. It's like you can't let that shit scare you into compliance. It's fuck that. Like Phil said, and look, there's nothing wrong with being polite. You know, I don't hate PC culture, right? I don't mind calling midgets little people, right? You know, that's not a big deal to me. I don't mind being polite, but there's a point where it's like you have to do this or else. That's where I draw the line. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm not going to do what you tell me because it's my right to not. And I'm not going to give that up to make you feel better. I am a polite person. That is why I choose to do this. But if you're going to force people to call people by their certain pronouns or you know, to say things the right way, if you force people to do it, it's going to require violence. It's going to require bloodshed. There's no way. Baby, thank you. I was trying to think of that. Yes, I'm Mom. I was trying to think of the Rage Against the Machine, although now they're Rage for the Machine. Yeah, fuck you. I won't do what you tell me. Thank you very much. Said sup dude every day. Had someone go trans at work and I refused to call them a chick. Said sup dude every day. See, look. That's the difference between me and Phil. And I respect Phil's right to do that, right? But I don't mind being like, hey, if you want me to recall you a girl, that's fine, whatever. But you can't expect me to be like, I'm a woman no matter what you say, blah, blah, like, and I'm going to go use the girl's bathroom with your daughter. Like, no, well, that's fuck you, right? I'm not, that's where I draw the line. But I don't mind because I choose to be polite. That's the baby over there, profile man with 69 followers. Let's go. Polite man. 69 followers. Hey.
How dare you?
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
Yes, that's my baby in the background getting diaper change right now. So she'll be crying a little bit. Let's watch this video and I'll mute me on the end over on my end for a second.
Ooh, say it again. Ghost gun. Joe Biden and the anti-gun lobby know that the best way to get any stupid law passed that restrict people's rights is to terrify suburban housewives. He knows they have nothing better to do than to group up with other housewives with nothing to do and create organizations whose only goal is to help power-hungry politicians restrict everyone else's rights because they're scared. That's why they call semi-automatic rifles assault weapons or weapons of war. That's why they call the standard magazine that comes with your gun a high-capacity magazine. It's why they keep calling guns that people make on their own ghost guns. The fundamental goal of gun control is not safety, it is control. If it was safety, the federal government would be spending our tax dollars to subsidize firearm training and gun safety. Instead, they only focus on the laws that give them more control.
And if gun control was such an issue, wouldn't we not have the people who enforce the law carry around fucking assault rifles, right? Like, if we really cared about gun control, or not gun control, gun safety, we would get rid of all the guns. And because here's the thing, the people who want to make guns illegal are going to be protected with people with guns. Like these fucking people, Joe Biden is constantly protected by people who have high-powered fucking sniper rifles, fucking 308s that will remove your head from your shoulders. All right, he has people with high caliber fucking pistols. Yeah, right. Okay. It's going to be if they want to take our guns, it's going to be the criminals and it's going to be the government who have the guns. And then they can tell you whatever the fuck they'll just tell you what to do. They don't have to fucking no more. They don't need to hold elections, right? There doesn't need to be debates because they got the guns. Let's see. On Thursday or Friday, if you want to be techno, bring back gun classes in high school. Yo, Phil, I completely agree with you, bud. Like, that is such a good idea. Like, right now with my son, I make it a point to take my son to the range with me so he knows gun safety. My son, who's 10, knows very damn well that the guns are off limits. He can't touch them, and he has a beautiful respect of firearms to the point where he doesn't want to use 9mm because he doesn't think that he's ready for it. Like, he shot some before, but he feels like it's too big of a caliber for him. He's not like, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it. Like, he's very responsible with it. Now, I still lock everything up. Everything is very much under lock and key. And even though that I trust my son, I still wouldn't have that sitting out. I don't have guns just laying around my house. It's very much, I make sure that he's educated on this stuff. And my daughter will be educated too, regardless of how my wife feels about it. But I only feel like it's necessary because if you're going to have guns in the house, then everybody should be educated about them. Whether they want to use them or not, they should be educated. So there is a level of respect because these will kill people. These are death machines, but they're also really fucking fun. Sure, everybody gets your semi-automatic rifles now. Exactly. Moving Dutchman gets it. He gets it. Oh, shit.
Buyers aren't required to pass background checks because guns have no serial numbers, these guns. When they show up at a crime scene, they can't be traced. Harder to find and prove who used them. I mean, you can't connect the gun to the shooter and hold them accountable. In fact, the ATF reports that they've been able to trace less than 1% of ghost guns reported by law enforcement.
What Biden is not telling you is that most guns used in crimes are untraceable because there's this thing called the black market where criminals get their guns. You can have 19 serial numbers on a gun and it still won't tell you anything other than where the gun was first sold. If the gun has passed through multiple criminals' hands, the gun, even with a serial number, is essentially untraceable. All the serial number can do is tell you who originally bought the gun. If the gun gets stolen, it's a wash because the criminal who stole it will just file the serial number off the gun. If the original purchase was a straw purchase, the original purchaser will just claim the gun was stolen, and the criminal, once again, will just file the serial number off of the gun. This isn't new. Criminals have been doing this.
Last year alone.
Right, and I think he keeps stressing the point. It's like, listen, criminals are going to get guns whether we fucking ban them or not. There's more guns in this country than there is people. You think you're gonna, if you ban guns and ghost guns, that they're not gonna be able to get guns? It's what they do. They commit crimes. They need shit. They need their weapons of crime. If that's, you know, if that's their path, I guess. Regulatory laws don't work for anything, not for guns, not for pain meds, not for anything. You end up with the good people losing them and then the wrong people with them. If a criminal wants a gun, they will get one. If a drug addict wants opiates, they will get them. Absolutely. Absolutely. And boy, howdy, that opiate crisis that's still going on since the early 2000s, right? That is just still killing thousands and thousands of people constantly, and they regulated it, and they fucking they made laws about it, but it's not going to stop anything. This failed war on drugs, bleh, gross. Fentanyl coming over the border with the people who are coming over the border in droves. 7.8 million people came over the border in the last 4 years or 3 years. You don't think one of them had fucking fentanyl on them? You don't think someone brought over some guns? I just found out that that Dr. Phil, of all people, was doing an expose on the border, and they were talking to a border agent, and they said that they knowingly will send kids, because under Trump, and I'm not a biggest fan of Trump, right? But under Trump, they had a rapid DNA test to prove parental ownership. I think that sounds terrible. But they eliminated the rapid DNA testing under the Biden administration. And now we can't test if these children are actually belong to the parents that are coming over. And we knowingly send children to places where we know they're going to be sex trafficked. It's just what we're doing. Last year, 80,000 children came up missing. Where did they go? I don't know. Who fucking knows? They'll have addresses written in marker on their arm. And then if they call, they'll be like, oh yeah, send them up. You know, put them on a bus. So I know I'm getting off topic here. Hey, mighty, welcome in. The sex dungeon industry is, it certainly is, Phil. It's so weird to me that people downplay the idea of sex trafficking and stuff, like, and like they act like it doesn't exist. And it's, what are you fucking talking about? Like, it's in full swing. And to say that there isn't elites who are involved in that trade, to say that there isn't billionaires who aren't making money off of that, it's, what was it, $150 billion industry? You don't think that there's banks involved? Jeffrey Epstein, fucking Epstein Island, come on, there's JP Morgan, fucking, you don't think that that it's just another way to make money? You don't think people are making money off that fentanyl coming to the border? American businessmen who, you don't think that's insane? Anytime there's a way to make money and people fucking want to get after that money, they're going to get it. Anyways, coming back to this. Oh, we got to end soon. Let's get through this video, because again, I think this video was very informative for me, because again, when we covered this on Monday, I didn't have a great understanding of what ghost guns, and I was sort of leaning in the thing is like, well, maybe ghost guns should be banned, but I was falling victim to that idea of fear again, right? And it just took me a moment, you know, and it took me a little bit more understanding. It's like, hey, this is what they do always. It's always fear. We had to go invade Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction. 20 years later, millions of dead brown people. Oh, I guess we fucked that up, guys. Sorry about that. Whatever. It's always fear that takes us in the worst directions.
Law enforcement reported approximately 20,000
20,000.
suspected ghost guns to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. That's a tenfold increase in these ghost guns from 2016. Tenfold in 5 years.
Well, that's not.
He's like, that's not true. Yeah, exactly. Yes, mom. The government. Yeah, yes, mom says when the government seizes 100 pounds of drugs, do you think it sits in an evidence room? No, it gets sold back to the cartel. Or I've definitely seen them burn like a bunch of drugs, which, you know, they're getting high on their own supply. It was Operation Fast and Furious, right? Under the Obama administration, fucking ATF agents getting caught selling fucking guns to the cartels. Like, if you think that didn't stop, if you think that this shit don't happen every fucking day, and then you're living in a fucking fantasy land. It's wild. It takes a 3D printer that can do metal and even make a gun of quality enough to use. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about that as well, right? Like, are you going to be able to ban schematics, right? You're going to be able to ban 3D printers now? Which they might, right? Like, they might do that kind of shit. But yeah, it's ridiculous.
True. The actual stat is that the Justice Department statistics show that nearly 24,000 ghost guns were recovered by law enforcement at crime scenes and reported to the government from 2016 to 2020, not 24,000 in 2020.
All of a sudden, it's no longer a ghost. It has a return address. It's going to help save lives,
Save
reduce
lives.
crime, and get more criminals off the streets.
Oh, really?
Told you. They use the same it'll save lives justification every time when they want to push a gun control law. Criminals are always going to get their hands on guns, and Joe Biden knows this. He also knows that the midterm elections are coming up, and right now, the post-COVID lockdown violence in our major cities is through the roof. So he needs a scapegoat, and so-called ghost guns are that scapegoat. It's the new shiny object to scare the masses with, so he can look like he's doing something. At the end of the day, the Second Amendment was designed to give independent power to the people. We don't need the government's permission to make our own guns because the Second Amendment wasn't telling us what we can do and can't do. It was written to tell the government what they can't do. You know how frightening it is to think about
Boom.
what happens in the moments
Which is beautiful.
before, during, and even
Which is
days
beautiful.
after?
And that's what this was all fucking about, right? Like, that was what these fucking amendments were about. It was to the right to happiness and to own property. What was it? Liberty, happiness, whatever the fuck that says. This shit is just inalienable rights that we have here that we fucking respect. I do like how George Carlin says, if you have to ask for it, it's not a right, right? These rights were put in place to protect ourselves against other people and governments. It's written right in the Constitution. It's like we are to fucking protect ourselves from our own governments because we know human nature is to consolidate power and to fucking control other people. It's in human nature. And so it was written into the Constitution for us to fight against tyranny and to fight against these assholes who are right now and always have been trying to consolidate power to make us do whatever the fuck they want us to do. And it's unacceptable, folks. The post-COVID violence isn't because of COVID, though. It's horrible leadership in those cities. You're talking about Republican motto, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Thank you. Yes, it's Constitution. I wouldn't give it to one side or the other. I would say that it's just all across the board. It's for all Americans. Yeah, and listen, George Soros and his these liberal funded DAs who are just letting people, like the craziest thing, right, was when you saw, what was it, migrants released cop NYC, right? We have alleged migrant attack on New York City sparks political uproar. Alleged. You have cops being attacked by migrants and then being released the same day. And on the way out, they're flipping people off. Migrants charged with, okay, so they finally started charging them. I know that they got a lot of shit for that, but I don't know if you guys remember that. These people are put in place for a reason. George Soros just hates humanity. He just hates humans. I don't know why the fuck it is. Where is the migrant? But why I want to see him flipping off the camera. And there's another one that's going around right now. Another video that's going around right now where it's look, this is them leaving. NYPD blast migrant cop attackers. Oh, you son of a bitch. Get out of my face. No, I don't want that. See, this is what they do. This is what they do. Body camera footage shows the chaotic lead up to the Times Square brawl between police and migrants. We just release them. Just release them. Fuck it. Just release them back into the fucking... And I think this person in particular was caught in Arizona doing more crime. Like they just are here fucking shit up. It's not every migrant. It's not every immigrant. I'm a product of immigration. My mom comes directly from Mexico. She got her citizenship the legal and right way. She's a law-abiding citizen. She's a good Christian woman. There are tons of immigrants who are beautiful people who come here and contribute to the culture and they're hardworking. But not every single fucking person is coming here with good intentions.